Welcome back to Diamond Niners Weekly. This is week 2 of the 2025 season. I am Nick, joined as always by Kevin.
Hey, what's up, Niner Nation?
And hanging out with us here for a bit, we got Coach Woody. What's up, Coach?
What's up, guys?
Man, I don't know about you boys, but I'm looking out my window right now. I know, Coach, you just got off the practice field. I'm looking out my window, and there are big, fat snowflakes falling.
Yep, we're on the roller coaster of February in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's 2 weeks ago I got sunburned, and here we are with some windburn.
Sometimes when you go to the Haze this time of year, you get both in the same day.
Good point.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, we're going to talk about that. But weather played a role in the series this past weekend against Northeastern. We'll kind of get into that. But man, it's good to have baseball season back underway, regardless of the temperature and the current weather. It was fun to be back at the Haze last weekend. Did a doubleheader on Friday, which the Niners split, and then we watched it rain for 2 days. I guess the sun finally came out about Sunday afternoon, but by that time the field was so the outfield was so saturated that that did it.
Yeah, I mean it had rained Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday before we opened, and we played 2 on Friday, and then it rained obviously some more on Saturday night and morning. And, we just kept pushing it back. And, I'm not one of those people that I usually I try to make decisions on what's going to cost me sleep. And for me, it felt like I was going to lose more sleep over the puddles that were all over the outfield and standing water, and putting 2 seniors, forget the class, putting 6 outfielders for both teams out on that field. It just, Saturday it didn't make sense. And then, it was still standing water and really, really wet on Sunday. The wind helped, and we were able to do some live at bats with no outfielders for practice once we called the game. I would say maybe by 3 or 4 o'clock on Sunday we could have played, but Northeastern had a flight to catch, and we couldn't physically start a game after 1:30. So once we felt like the field was going to be unplayable, we started preparing for Wofford.
Well, I know that if the outfield, we've got that wonderful infield turf. If we had a turf outfield, the third game probably happens. But Coach, the game I'm talking about. I was watching on Saturday night Duke and Cincinnati play on their turf field, basically in an icy mist on Saturday night, and I'm okay that we weren't out at the Haze on Saturday night under the brand new awesome lights, but it would have been nasty.
Yeah, we would have played. I mean, if the outfield had been turf, we would have played. Honestly, we probably would have played on close to schedule. We wouldn't have had a double. We wouldn't have had a double Friday. We would have played one each day if we had a turf outfield. But just the rain earlier in the week, and then the big system that rolled through, kind of the slow system Saturday, and then the big system Sunday morning. So. It just is what it is. Yeah. I never want to put our student athletes at risk out on a field, really in any situation. But game 3 of a long season, it didn't seem like it made sense to me. As much as we all wanted to finish that series, because that was 2 pretty polished, well played games by 2 good teams to start the season here between us and Northeastern.
Well, Kevin and I have some questions we want to ask you about the individual games, but why don't we do this, Kevin? Why don't we just let Coach? We've been watching this team play all fall, primarily against one another, although there were 2 scrimmages, and then the January scrimmages. We've been watching this team primarily compete against itself, same as you. You've got 3 games under your belt now, including the last night's game at Wofford. What is your reaction to this team as a whole now that you've got 3 games under your belt against live competition?
I think it's always a good thing when the first word that comes to mind is consistency. This has been a very consistent group since the opening team meeting in August, and very consistent with their level of effort in practice, the weight room, the classroom, pretty low maintenance off the field, knock on wood. You always got to say that as a coach, but they've just been very consistent. They've been very consistently competitive. They've been very consistent in their responses to failure. They've been very consistent in handling success, and and that's what you want, man. I mean, it's a long season. It's baseball. Like, great teams don't really ride the roller coaster. It's almost like when you come to watch us play, and I feel like if you came to watch the first 3 games of our season, you probably couldn't tell what the score was. You probably couldn't. You probably couldn't tell if we were, up 6-1, down 3-1, down 2-0, or winning 4-2, which have kind of been the big scores through 3 games. My hope is that you couldn't tell, and I think so far that's the glaring trait that I'm most proud of. And if we continue to be consistent in what we do, then this is going to continue to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, Coach, this weekend you had to be happy with your starting pitching and your bullpen. To be honest, you get 6 strong on Friday on game 1, and then you get 5 strong out of your starter, and then you hand it over to the bullpen, closes it out. Talk about your starters getting blinked into the game early in the season. Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of one of the major keys to having a great bullpen is to have great starting pitching. Stress leads to stress, and conversely, when you limit stress, then there's less. So, I mean, Mike and Blake did a tremendous job. That's kind of as much as you could ask for on an opening day doubleheader. And both those guys have worked extremely hard, along with Andrew and the rest of the pitching staff, to be ready. So we had to wait a few days to see Andrew get his start, and he'll be back out there Sunday for us against Old Dominion. But our pitchers have worked extremely hard with Coach O, Coach Hansen, and Coach McKibben. A lot of these guys pitched very meaningful innings. Joseph Taylor, Adam Stanton, for us last year. And, but it's exciting having, an entirely new weekend rotation in here and letting those guys be themselves. And they did a great job for us week 1.
I'd like to take credit for this comparison, Coach, but I can't. I heard this in the stands and I liked it, so I'm gonna roll it out here. Even though he's new to the program, Mike Sturma is an extremely experienced pitcher. The comparison in the stands was, as far as the style of pitcher he is, was to Matty Brooks. How's that hold up?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to compare really anybody to Matt Brooks, just with what he brought to the program for so many years. But just in terms of just pitchability, like the fastball command, the cutter, the slider. He's got a curveball, and the change, can throw any pitch, any count. Pretty much, I only got to coach Matty for a short time, but just the way he pitches and the way Mike pitches, they have that intensity to them when they make a pitch that's almost like they're going to give you everything they got, and it doesn't matter if it's the first pitch of the game, the 4th inning, or the last pitch of their outing. Like, they just that every pitch they throw is everything they got, and those guys are so hard to beat.
You mentioned Blake in game 2. He had a little trouble in 1 inning, but pitched out of it and ended up getting getting 5 innings for you, deep, Coach. Talk about him and going the rest of the way in the weekend rotation.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was one, maybe two balls that were squared up off of Blake. Just kind of missed a location with a heater, which happens. And but I mean, I think one ball rolled off the line, another ball rolled kind of down into no man's land off the end of the bat, and another pitch was flared. You know, and I thought he handled himself tremendously, and to get us to the sixth with 5 innings there, I thought was huge. I think it really bodes well for when his stuff is on. But yeah, Blake did a great job, and I'm excited to, you know, see him back out there game 2 for us against Old Dominion.
We were talking about some of those arms in the bullpen, and it already feels like you've just got a number of good options there, and it's good to see Joel Sarver healthy. I would hazard a guess that this is the healthiest he's been since he's been here. But he looks healthy, looks confident, and he's really contributing. I love a story like that because Joel's been around the program. I think this is his 3rd year, I believe.
It is.
That right?
Yep.
His 3rd year in the program, and he has really worked through some things to get to the point where he's contributing now, and he looks like he's going to be a big part of a big piece of the puzzle this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you go back and rewatch. What was it? Was it the 3rd inning last night? I think it was the third inning that he pitched, and it was like I don't know. You know, I don't know how any of those runs were actually earned, just being honest. And then I think our defenders would tell you that. And then don't really know how that 3-2 pitch was a hit by pitch based on the camera angles that I've gotten to look at, you know. And I throw that stuff out there because, you know, Sarves didn't miss a beat. Like, he was calm, cool, and collected, and you know, even I thought the last one kind of ducked into it there. And I'm just like, you know, just like to not see that too often. But he's the last one that's going to make excuses, and I thought he, you know, he had about as much adversity thrown at him in that inning, and it's kind of amazing that we only allowed 2 runs that inning, and a lot of that's just really a credit to Sarves for keeping his poise, and AJ Camp coming in there, his first college appearance, and being a bulldog.
Yeah, I think he had 2 bases loaded situations there, and got out of them both. One with 0 runs allowed, so hats off to the bullpen for that. Another major story or major component that I noticed, and a lot of other people noticed this weekend, was behind the plate. Northeastern came into the game. They had over 160 stolen bases last season, one of the tops in the country. And Logan Poteet, he threw out 4 base runners. Our pitching staff picked off 2 base runners. We stopped the entire running game for Northeastern all weekend. So talk a little bit about that and what you see moving forward.
Yeah, no, I mean, first, I think Logan's certainly worth highlighting. He's a really good player, and he showed that's been on display here through 3 games. So I think his arm behind the plate's been up to 87, 88, which is kind of like I don't know, the big catcher for the Kansas City Royals. I keep forgetting his name, but I mean, he kind of is at the tops of the big leagues in like arm strength behind the plate, and Logan's putting up some numbers that are similar to his as far as transfer and velocity from behind the dish. You know, so he did a tremendous job, but I give our pitchers a lot of credit too. I mean, they worked extremely hard. Those are things that in September we're working on. I mean, we're working on our pickoff moves. For us, like, you know, if you really want to dig into it, like on the stopwatch, you want to be like right around a 0.90, 0.95 pickoff move. You know, anything that's a full second or above, you're not going to pick off a lot of guys. So like our right-handed pitchers, like we we try to train those guys to be right around a .90 on the stopwatch as much as we possibly can. And then the more they do it, the more accurate they get. And biggest key is not throwing any away and that sort of thing. And we try to mix up our times, mix up our holds, and we work on pitching out of that in the bullpen as well. So there's just all those little things that I just give our pitching staff a lot of credit for because they've all worked really hard at those things. Those are that's a big element to, who we want to be. Is we want to be a team that can shut down that style of play. Wofford's another team that's really notorious for stealing bases as well, and I felt like we did a good job, even though we didn't quite take care of the baseball as much on the catch and throw piece, but we still did a good job of keeping that at bay. And then, Tyler Simmons works with our catchers. I want to make sure I acknowledge him just from the standpoint that, he's been here even longer than myself. And, Tyler worked with Harris Yett, who got drafted. And then we recruited Aaron McKeithen, who came here in 21 and got drafted. And Caden Hobson came in here for 3 years and worked with Tyler. And then he signed as a free agent. And now you've got Logan Poteet in here. And it's just kind of like, I'm just really proud of sort of the lineage that's being developed here. Like, it's sort of one of those things where now, like, if you're a catcher at Charlotte, then that means you're legit. So I'm really proud of Coach Simmons and all the work that our catchers have been doing, like I said, even before I got here. So to whoever the catchers were before Harris Yett, I apologize for leaving you out.
Well, it's Harris is a good place to start the discussion because he was fantastic.
Oh yeah, I remember him from the other dugout. And he was legit. He was a beast back there.
Yeah, Coach, as a pitcher, that's your experience as a player, is from the mound. How does that change having somebody behind the plate like that? That not only from a confidence standpoint, handling you as a pitcher, as a receiver, but also the ability to hold runners and help you hold runners from behind the plate with their arm. How does that change your psychology as a pitcher when you've got somebody back there that you trust so much?
It just takes so many things off your mind. Like, it's like it lets you just kind of narrow your focus to the pitch. And, you're mixing your holds and your times and your pickoff move, obviously those things, but just like, you don't have to worry about things as much. Like, you can just really, like, you get to 2 strikes and you want to throw a pitch in the dirt to get a guy to chase. Like, you don't have to think about it. You just know that Logan or Cody or our catchers are going to block it up. And, that if you're facing an aggressive team, that you can kind of work the ball off a little bit, and Logan's going to get there and get some balls called strikes for you. A lot of teams like to steal and off-speed counts, like, 0-2, 1-2 kind of thing, right? Because they think our pitchers are going to throw breaking balls. And so it's really nice when you can throw like off-speed in those counts and the runners take off and they still get thrown out. A couple of those caught stealings, those weren't on fastballs. Those were on changeups and sliders. And so you're talking about off-speed pitches that are moving a ton, and hitters are swinging through them or taking them, and we're still getting the called strike, and he's got the .7 transfer with the 80 to 86, 87 mile an hour throw on the money. So it's not easy to do. There's not many guys that can do that. And so we're just really fortunate, and like I said, it lets our pitchers kind of focus on the things that they need to focus on.
Coach, let's switch over to the offensive side of the ball here. Last night, Noah Furch with the big blow against Wofford. He seems to be their worst nightmare. He did it to him last year at the Hayes. He started out as DH. He's been in right field. Talk a little bit about him this season and where he was last year.
I said it last night, I think on the pregame radio show with Joe Temple, and I just said, if somebody just came up to me and said, hey, I'm here to watch, your team play, who should I watch? I would just point to Noah Furch. I'd just say, go watch Noah. Like, that's how that's how we play. I mean, he's the first one on the field. He's the first one off. Sometimes he beats the first baseman from right field, which is impressive. He just never takes a pitch off, and he does everything he's asked and then some. And he's just such a leader for guys to look up to in the locker room, and he's just an awesome human. So great to see him have a good night last night.
So continuing on with offensive highlights, I'm gonna issue a personal apology to Dawson Bryce from me to you, Dawson. I know I told you about this already, Coach, but watched him. He's just a gamer. Watched him all fall. Watched him this January. I mean, if you had asked me, like, well, what do you think of Dawson Bryce? I'm like, oh, he's a good player. He's definitely he's a good piece for us, and he's going to help us. That's what I would have said. But there's something about when you see him in a scrimmage situation where he's good, but he doesn't like just jump off the page. But something happens when the game goes live that he goes into another gear. That's just what I'm seeing, because Dawson Bryce has come out of the chute like he's shot out of a cannon right now, Coach. And if I had to put money on who was going to come out the hottest, I probably wouldn't have bet on you, Dawson, and I would have lost that money. So that's on me. But man, he's on fire right now. Yeah,
you would have lost some money on that one. He's
I would
pretty
have.
good.
I definitely would have. It's on me.
Coach Bick and Coach Sieb, they were all over Dawson this past summer. As soon as they got wind that he was, looking to go to another school, and then they went up to, I think, Vermont. They were up there in New England to go see him play college summer ball, and I think Coach Bick just sat there for 2 days and watched him play for 48 hours and was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes for you to come here and help us win at Charlotte. And, we just loved him on his visit. And, he's tough as nails, uber talented. This is our second year of having our 6-tool, stadium system that monitors actual player tracking, and Dawson's metrics in terms of like how fast he runs, how hard he hits the ball, his throwing velocity across the infield from third base, some of the things that like you can kind of see, but also when compared to like our opponents from weekend one and like the other third baseman and the other infielders and the other right-handed hitters and those kind of things, like his metrics are really up there in terms of just being at the top. And he's so young, he's so talented, and he works extremely hard. So just really happy for him to see him having success out of the gate. And I don't think we've even seen what he's capable of yet, which is exciting.
He's so young. I mean, he's a true sophomore.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so the opportunity for growth there is huge. I know you're watching at home. We're still talking small sample size, 3 games, but I don't care what 3 games you're talking about. I mean, 145 OPS. You could give me any 3 games you want, and I'm not going to have a 145 OPS. So he's on it. Definitely excited to watch him play some more.
Yeah, he's a stud.
And on the defensive side as well. I mean, solid defense, really from everybody. The first 3 games. I know you really want to pitch and play good defense, and I think we've done that so far this season, Coach.
Yeah, I mean that's who ultimately. I mean, you want to fire on all cylinders, right? But it's like, Coach Bick has a phrase: if they never score, they can never win, basically. So, we try to I've always admired those teams in college baseball. I've always admired those teams that, like, you know, they seem to always win the 3-2, the 4-2, the 4-3, 2-1 games, 1-0 dogfights. Like, some may think it's boring, but I think that's like, I don't know how you could watch last night's game be a 4-2 game and think that wasn't, you know, there wasn't a bunch of action. I mean, I think there was 19 runners left on base and a ton of big pitches and matchups, and, you know, they caught a bunch of our line drives kind of right at them, and we had to throw a guy out at the plate. So there's just a lot of action in those kind of games, and those are some of my favorite. I don't get into the whole like sloppy 15-13 games with 6 errors between both sides. I'm not into that brand of baseball. I do it now.
All pitchers.
If we want to score 15 and the other team wants to score 1 or 2, I'm cool with that too.
You don't want a 36-22 final or whatever that was with that this weekend.
Those games take years off your life.
Hey, that game at Western Kentucky, that Sunday game at Western Kentucky a few years ago was bad enough, right?
You had to bring it up.
I think that was 50-mile-an-hour winds.
I would just like to point out that we were winning that game until Nate Furman got injured and had to come out of the game. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, well, we were basically playing a baseball game in a hurricane.
Tornado
is what it boiled down to. So I tell you what, we'll not only move on from that game, Coach. We'll move on from last week. Let's go to this week. A tough Old Dominion squad's coming in here this weekend. They got swept by Georgia Tech this weekend, but that doesn't tell the story because those were 3 competitive games. And Chris Finwood's teams just don't let you off the hook at all. So, you know, we kind of know what we're expecting this weekend. But why don't you tee us up for a big series at the Hayes with Old Dominion? Yeah,
I mean, some of our tightest series have been with Coach Finwood and those guys. 2021, we played back-to-back 4-game series, and I think we went 3-1 here, and then 2-2 up there, or 1-3. That might have been the only series we lost, I think, all year in 21. But we just always play really tight, close games and really evenly matched. They do a tremendous job of recruiting the junior college level. So there's a lot of crossover between, some guys that are on our roster and their roster that we've just kind of gotten to know in the recruiting process. And then they do a great job. I mean, Virginia's got a ton of high school baseball talent. And so they kind of load up on really talented JUCO and junior college players, or JUCO and high school players from that Virginia Beach area. And they're really good. So, I mean, this year, like you said, I've played multiple series down at Georgia Tech, and that is a very difficult place to go in and win. So a little bit misleading. Their 3 starters it'll be one of, if not the best rotations we'll probably see all year, honestly, between, just those 3 lefties that threw last weekend for them. I don't think it's been officially announced, but I would assume those 3 guys would go. They're kind of, I think it's Moore, Brown, and Morgan. First 2 guys are kind of up to 94 with really good off speed, and then Blake Morgan just might be their best pitchability guy. He's been a staple in their rotation for a number of years. Got a really good changeup, high compete. So I don't think in that entire Georgia Tech series, I don't think they allowed a single run in the first 4 innings of any of the games. So that's pretty impressive that Georgia Tech didn't even score a run until the 5th inning of all 3 games last weekend. So, it's going to be a battle. It's going to be a dogfight, but it's something that through 3 games, it feels like that this team enjoys those types of games.
Coach, I looked it up. You guys have played. You've coached against ODU 17 times since you've been here. That's incredible.
My hair was brown when I got here.
I know the first year we played them 8 times in 10 days or something like that. Crazy, but
so we've already played 17 times.
Yeah, 17 times in your tenure here.
I was going to say something to the effect, Kevin, of it feels like that since Woody's been here, that about a quarter of our games have been against Old Dominion.
So this will be 18, 19, 20. We'll play them 20 times in 5 years.
Yeah.
I got to talk to Finney about this. We got to change. We got to get them off the schedule.
Well, we played them eight times in 10 days or whatever it was in 21 when they had the crazy Conference USA schedule. But definitely a familiar foe. I know Nick's been up to Norfolk a couple times when we've gone up there. But glad to be at the Hayes this weekend, and always a good team and always a fun matchup with those guys. Anything else we should look forward to seeing at the Hayes this weekend?
No, I mean, just gonna be another gritty battle between two really good teams that have a track record of being in the NCAA tournament. So it'll be hard. It'll be hard fought. It'll be a good battle. No, it should be good. Excited to see everybody here and keep building the momentum of the season.
Can I make one request about Old Dominion, Coach? Let's keep them on the schedule long enough to get a series in their new ballpark, because I think we've earned it. They are, and if you don't know this, Old Dominion is playing all road games this year. They've got a handful of games in the Norfolk Tides ballpark, and then there's another ballpark in Hampton. Maybe it's an American Legion Stadium or something that they're going to use for a handful of games. But other than that, Old Dominion is playing all road games this year because their ballpark is under construction. They've been saying that it was going to happen for years, and the signs have been up for years. And now they're actually doing it. And if fans remember, I think it was it 22 that they would have hosted, and they wound up going to South Carolina they went South Carolina as a 1 seed.
I think it was 21.
It might have been 21 the same year we were in Greenville. They would have hosted one of those years if they had a ballpark.
It was 22. It was 22. Yeah.
And if you go, I mean, they've got we've always talked about their beer garden, and it's everything they say it is. It's a nice place, but like the actual facilities, the stands, this is a much needed upgrade. And frankly, I mean, Coach Finwood and that program, they deserve it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's cool that they're actually doing that now. So I think, Coach, if we're going to take some time off from Old Dominion, if we're going to get some space, we ought to wait till we can go up there and see that ballpark. Just a thought.
Okay. All right.
I mean, we've certainly, and if the wind tunnel's still going to be there, which I'm sure it is, the Old Dominion wind tunnel will still be in function.
Yeah.
So, well, Coach, we're not even, you know what, I'm not even going to do this to you because I can tell you're locked in. We won't be back until after we've played Longwood. I'm not even going to ask you a Longwood question because you're gonna go, man, I'm focused on Old Dominion. So, you know what? Forget it. Not even going to ask you about Longwood. That's coming up next Tuesday. Everybody, and folks, I think the weather at the Hayes this weekend is supposed to be fairly sunny, but it's going to be a little chilly. But I've heard that it's going to be warm, start warming up next week. So that Longwood game next Tuesday night, might actually be like warm temperatures. So look forward to that. Put that on your calendar. All right, Coach. That's the 30 minutes we asked you for. I know you've got other stuff to do. We appreciate you making time for us. For those of you wondering, Woody just walked off the practice field. We got him in out of the snow to talk to us here. So he's probably going to go somewhere and get warmed up now.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's great talking ball and highlighting our guys, and just appreciate the coverage. And like I said, it's going to be a gritty, hard-fought battle this weekend against a really good Old Dominion team. And so look forward to seeing everybody out of the haze.
All right, head coach Robert Woodard, everybody. Appreciate Woody taking time with us. He doesn't have to do that, and he always makes time for us, and we are so appreciative of him taking time to talk a little Niner baseball with us. Speaking of time, I see producer Brad has arrived. Producer Brad, there you are.
Hey.
Y'all thought producer Brad wasn't going to get introduced this week, but there he is. Producer Brad just got home. He was in Halton Arena, as I understand it, where the basketball game got moved because of the snow, and then it went to overtime.
Yep.
Producer Brad, do you want to give us the result?
We got the W. We got the W that we should have got when we were back in Temple, despite the fact that the refs don't know what they're doing.
There you go.
So,
They never do.
Oh, I mean, Nick, this was early in about 5 minutes into the second half, I think. I could be wrong. Or no, it was first half. Nick Graves puts up a three-pointer. Guy just clobbers him. Doesn't make any contact with the ball. Just hits his arm and puts Nick's on the ground, and he runs off down court. They call nothing. And I'm like, I mean, you can be bad, but I don't know if you can be that bad and still be a ref.
Yeah.
Like,
You think he was behind home plate last night at Wofford? Is there a chance?
I don't know. Maybe the guy last night at Wofford, I have to give him this. He was at least consistently bad. Like, I mean, I got to give him that. I mean, he was calling strikes that were at people's heads, but he did that basically for everybody. Yeah. Like the strike zone was just a mile wide, and
he still fell for that hit by pitch, which was
well.
I know y'all like hearing from Woody, and we love having him on too. But once he rolls off, we can say ththings that he shouldn't have any part of, like criticizing an umpire on video. Those of you who watched the game on ESPN Plus last night at Wofford, you know what we're talking about. If you know, because there was some questionable stuff going on down there. But Niners got the W. So Niners got the W last night. Niners basketball got the W this afternoon. Producer Brad was able to be there in person. He was like, "Oh man, I want to go to the basketball game." I'm like, "Do it, man. We can handle this for a little while."
Nick
you
got
didn't burn it down.
Nick, he handled it. He got us the intro, and he pulled us all in. And
the show didn't burn down while you were away. Now, if you had arrived 5 minutes later, it might have just all fallen apart. But you're here now, so
I'm here.
So we're good. All right. So a couple things, guys. There were a few things last week. We wanted to talk to Wheels, which we did, and that was so worth it. And then he was there last night. Got to see him at Wofford, so that was really cool. One thing funny, Kevin, and I didn't mention this to you before, but he was actually working last night. Wheels was. He was the responsible administrator. So what that means is, like, if like say Woody had gotten thrown out, it would have been Patrick that went and got him and escorted him out. Yeah. So if you've been around the Hays for a while, you know what I say, because when he told me what that was, that's what he was doing. I said, "Oh, you're Jesse Garber."
You beat me to it.
Yeah. He said, yes. So if you've been around the Hays for a while, you know exactly what we mean. He was Jesse Garber last night. Fortunately, no one was thrown out, so Wheels didn't have to escort Woody from the premises.
we saw Jesse Garber escort several A10 coaches from the premises at the Hays back in the day. Now that was, I know he
while they were yelling.
Yeah, he hated it, but it's funny to talk about now.
Jesse never batted an eyelash. He was professional the whole time. Like, "Coach, this way, please." Guy's still yelling, "Coach, we need to go." So yeah, that was cool last night. But we got so excited, rightfully so, about talking about opening day. There were a couple things that we didn't have a chance to talk about. One of them was the first pitch dinner, which was back on January 31st. All three of us were there. We really didn't get a chance to talk about that for folks that might have missed it. And if you did miss it, this is a great event every year. But man, this year was the room was packed, and the speakers were just absolutely phenomenal. Kevin, I'll let you give your feedback, and you too, Brad. But man, this event gets a little bigger, and a little more fun every year. It feels like.
Yeah, I really had a good time. The MC was a little corny, but other than that, I had a great time. No, all jokes aside, Nick did a great job as MC as always. He outdid himself this year. I think it was his best performance to date, being the MC. I think everyone had a good time, and
haven't been fired yet.
There were even a few inside jokes that were up there, but yeah, you did a great job, and Woody and everyone that put that together. It was a great event, sold out. I think we're going to have to go to a bigger venue next year.
Bigger room next year.
There's a great turnout for a great program. It's been growing every year, and it's something we've talked about for a long time. It's great to finally see it progressing as it should.
Yeah, my first time, I thought it was great. My only complaint, because I had a really good seat, was that there was a podium in my way when you sat down and did the interview. But other than that, it was really good. So,
you would not believe how much conversation there is about that podium and where it sits and how it's arranged and whether or not we need it or not. And yeah, there's a lot of discussion about that podium. I promise you.
Really? I would just move it back 2 feet and then put the couches or the 2 seats or whatever, put them in line with it, and then you'd be able to see everything.
Yeah.
But, not that I have any experience in stage management or anything like that. So,
well, hey, it takes a village, man. And I want to say that the two speakers, first of all, Jason Hill, Niner baseball player, alum, Charlotte guy, co-owner on Deck Academy, absolutely crushed it. It was great to have the entire Hill family back on campus and to have him involved in that event and the job he did talking and just the heartfelt nature of what he was saying about his time as, with the 9 across the chest and playing for Coach Hibbs. And, when you're, I got like chill bumps. I don't know about you guys, but like when he's relaying his memories of campus and his playing days, and we're there in the salons and the student activity center, and he raises his hand and he points and he says, like, for instance, right over there, that's where I met my wife. And, his wife Janine played softball at Charlotte as well. And he's like, I met my wife right over there in this room. I mean, how can you not get all the feels, when somebody's relaying something that authentic about the impact that the program has had on their life.
Right. And he's our age. He was there when we were there as students.
Yeah.
And lots changed on campus since then, but there's a lot to stay the same. And then you could tell he was very passionate about the university. He was happy to be back, and very appreciative of the honor. And Coach Woodard honored him with a gold standard locker after his speech, and it was really cool to see. And he was very appreciative of that.
Yeah, and Daniel Bard, big leaguer. His story. I like the way he addressed the players as much as anything, and talking about his journey has not been easy, and was out of baseball at one point, made it back in, and just really an inspirational story all the way around. So, man, the night had everything. It's really become like a family reunion. Over 220 people in attendance. I think it's got way more. I know it's got way more room to grow. We're probably going to move over to the student union next year, which they've got a great setup over there for that. And it was just if you could spend time in that room and not leave with positive vibes about Charlotte baseball, then I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, lots of former players. Lots of former players from all different eras were there.
Yeah.
And then
there's like dudes that you see once a year, and you see them at this. You get to catch up with them.
Yeah, exactly. And then current players, they're all there, intermingled. And Dante DeFranco spoke on behalf of the team, and he had a great speech as well. So yeah, it's a great event. I always enjoy going. Recommend it to anyone that's associated with the baseball program or with the athletic department. It's a great night, and I always enjoy it.
That's something we need to make happen. Dante crushed it as speaking on behalf of the seniors, and Dr. Dante DeFranco at this point. We need to get him in here and talk to us about his experience, because he basically spans the entire Woodard era at this point.
Right.
He has been present for all of those Old Dominion games.
Yeah, he has. And I think he may have dabbled in podcasting himself at some point. I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah, he's got a little podcasting experience. So all that's left is for Dante to make his appearance on here. We need to effort that and get Dante on here during his senior year. I think everybody loved hearing from him. It's just been really cool to watch him grow up in the program. It's one of those things we get to see. So the other thing, and I do want to, we talk a lot about this, guys. The evolving nature. We could do a whole 2-hour podcast on the evolving nature of college athletics and everything that's going on. That the House settlement, pay for play, profit sharing, revenue sharing, NIL, all that stuff. We could talk about that for a whole nother 2 hours, like I said. But something that did get rolled out at the first pitch dinner is that the athletic program, the athletic department does have, we have a relationship with a collective now. Niners Collective was called. You can look them up on the web, Niners Collective. And it's the way that it's the changing nature of the game, and it's the way college sports are being played now. Whether you come down, which side of the argument you come down on an NIL, it's a reality. And what's cool is that now that the athletic program is dabbling into that world, we're doing it with some Niners. Randy Peterson, who is a longtime friend of Charlotte baseball. All of us here have known Randy for 25 years, is kind of heading that up. So it's not just some kind of shady backroom kind of deal. It's Niners running the collective and people that care about the program. And they actually partnered with our guys, Nick and Joel, over at One Campus. You've heard us talk about One Campus before, which they've got all their baseball gear up for the season. OneCampus.co, if you go check them out. They've got awesome baseball gear, but one of the things you'll see on there is actually a Niners baseball NIL themed baseball shirt that is unique to One Campus. And if you purchase that cool shirt, $15 goes into the collective to help support our student athletes on the baseball team for NIL payments. So it's beyond time that we get in, that the Niners got involved in that space. If you look out there, NC State's got probably the most impressive array of things I've seen out there. The Niners are responding to this change in college athletics, and it's just really cool to see people like Randy, like Nick Sulak involved in this and helping make sure that it's done the right way for us, Kevin.
Right, and it's the NIL. It's different for different sports. I mean, for basketball, it's one animal, and football is certainly a different beast. But baseball, right now they're only allowed 11.7 scholarships, and the NIL money that's going towards baseball players, that's kind of just supplementing to get them to break even, because all the guys are paying something. They're paying something to go to school at Charlotte to be a student athlete, and it's not like they're none of them are on full scholarship. Like basketball, football, those guys are on full scholarships, and anything NIL given is bonus. But our baseball guys, they're getting percentages of scholarships, and the NIL is supplementing that to help them with their finances in college. And one campus is great. Their merch is great. I've bought several baseball themed items as well as football.
I got a lot of one campus merch.
Yeah, they do really good stuff, and we've been looking for Niner gear for years. Trying to get, especially baseball gear. It's hard to come by, and it's good to have someone making stuff like that, and just feel like we should support them, and you get your money's worth for sure.
Yeah. So if you go over there to One Campus's website and look at the baseball section, the first thing you'll see there is that NIL shirt with the unique design on it, and $15 from every shirt sale goes to the Niners Collective specifically for baseball. And like I said, when you start talking about NIL, people, you hear about Arch Manning with his who did he get a sponsorship with? Was it Red Bull or I don't know, whatever, Cooper Flag and New Balance, guys that are already on full scholarship getting multi-million-dollar NIL deals. That's not this. That's not this at all. Baseball players are paying to be here. And the gap between what they pay to go to school here and what they're able to get in terms of scholarship for playing baseball, there's still a gap there. There's a financial gap there. And we're hoping to help use NIL to fill that gap. To make it easier for these guys to put the 9 across their chest. That's our only goal in supporting this and even talking about it right now. So if you want to get involved with Niners Collective or One Campus with their cool NIL gear, check it out. That's the best I can put it is we encourage you to check it out.
I agree. It's good stuff. I need to get on there and make some more purchases here shortly.
So, changing gears from that, which we thought it was important to at least mention that to you guys. Something else we think it deserves some attention here is the work Joe Templin continues to do as SID, whether it's the game notes or the website. If you got a chance to listen to his road radio broadcast last night, he was having fun with that. And I was actually sitting close enough to hear Joe doing the broadcast, so I could hear the play-by-play while I was watching the game, so that worked out, Kevin. But Joe every season has some new toys and some new tools that he brings, and we're kind of excited about some of the stuff that Joe's brought to the table this season.
Yeah, well, he's the record book and stuff. He's updated the record book, and there's smart links and everything in there. And every year. You and I struggle with pronunciation of several of the players' names. Oh
yeah.
Sometimes it takes us 4 years to get. It took us 4 years to get Josh Maciejewski. Right.
Patrick Shapinsky.
Yeah. So this year, another little tidbit to help us out. I'm sure it was directed towards us.
Had to be.
On the team page on the website, they have the roster. They have a little ear, and it provides you with pronunciation where the player will say their name. So I don't know if you guys can hear this. I'm going to try this out here real quick.
Connor Marinac. Connor Marinac.
So Connor Marinac, could you guys hear that?
Yeah, we could hear that. And I've been calling him Connor Mariniak since August.
Yeah.
Well, probably since before that. I've been calling him Connor Mariniak probably since he signed.
So yeah, that's there we go. We got corrected, self-corrected.
Caleb Estes.
But one of my favorites this year, as far as pronunciation goes, is this one.
Toby Bicknell.
I'm going to tell you what, producer Brad, I need some help from the technology because I want to download that and make it my cell phone. I want to make it my ringtone.
Toby Bicknell.
Wouldn't that be cool? My phone starts ringing and it's Toby.
That's intimidating, man. If you want to intimidate someone, then you make that your ringtone.
Toby Bicknell.
Yeah, I think that's a cool new feature. It helps us with our pronunciation as well, and I think it'll go a long way.
I love that. And I'm going to tell you what, I mean, I know we say this every year and it's fine because I'll keep saying it. We've Kevin and I have been around long enough and we've gone through some SIDs and Joe's the cream of the crop. And so we're lucky to have him. He does a phenomenal job. And, that Toby Bicknell, I need that as my ringtone. That's all I can tell you.
It's good stuff. I missed the pregame show yesterday, and then Woody mentioned it when he was talking with us. I'm going to make sure I make a note of that to catch up for next time. Usually like 15 minutes before first pitch. He probably does that.
Yeah, I think so. And Joe was set up at a folding table out on the concourse last night for broadcasting the game.
He didn't bring you on. He didn't bring you on as a color analyst.
I might be too colorful. I might be too colorful for that. Especially with some of those calls. Hot
Mike and Nick McIntyre and umpires. That's a good combination.
Oh, I'm mindful. I'm mindful of where the mic is. Like in general, it's like no. I need to go stand over here. In fact, at one point, I consciously went and stood next to Wheels on the visitor side and was talking to him because I knew he'd keep me out of trouble. Didn't need to do that, but yeah, it was fun. There was a good group of Wofford students out there last night, and they were chirping a little bit. And you know how it is when I hear people having fun chirping, I just want to get in on it.
Yeah,
it's like how can I participate in this?
I did watch the game on ESPN Plus, and the last few innings, it sounded like we had a really good crowd down there. It was the volume was high when Charlotte did something well.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, and this is how we get the conversation back around on the field. The Joneses were down there. Siebes' parents are in town. They were there. Juan Rivera's dad is still in town, and he was there last night. So there were Niners in there, but most of that noise you were hearing, Kevin, was coming out of our dugout. This team is the attitude of this group is fiery. We've had really quiet dugouts before, right? We all know what that's like, where the dugout just kind of, they're just kind of like, whatever. But that is not this team. That is not this roster. They are up on the rail. They are standing on the bench. They are locked in on the game, and they make noise. That's all I can tell you. So a lot of that noise you were probably hearing was coming out of our dugout.
Yeah, well, I loved it. Loved hearing it. Seemed like a home game for the Niners. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah, it was cool. Nice setup they've got down there, but a tough place to play. Really, that win's gonna age well. on the resume as the season goes on, as will splitting with Northeastern. This weekend, tough test. This is one of those. This is another weekend. If you get a series win out of this, any series win is great, but a series win out of Old Dominion, I think that'll age well.
Yeah, and they're going to Sun Belt's pretty tough, so they're going to get in their conference, and RPI will go up. So yeah, definitely it'll be good to get to this weekend, and I'm sure there'll be 3 close games.
Yeah, the Sun Belt definitely has some tough teams. Maybe some not so tough teams too, but we know who they are. We will not name them, but you know who they are. That league is always a war, and Old Dominion will be certainly a participant in that. Tough task this year playing all road games. I mean,
I did not realize that until you said it tonight.
Yeah.
That is tough not playing at home.
Yeah. But that upgrade, they really needed that for the stadium. So good on them. They deserve it. And so good on them. But we're excited. Game times, 4 o'clock on Friday, 2 o'clock on Saturday, and 1 p.m. on Sunday. Weather looks like it won't be an issue. Be a little chilly. Layer up. That Saturday will be a busy day on campus, so prepare for that. Parking wise, you might want to just go ahead and think about parking in the CRI deck. They'll validate your parking there at the stadium. If that is I think the schedule is something like noon is women's lacrosse, and they'll have a big crowd out. Their parents show up and they tailgate. So if you want to tailgate with us, we'll be out there on Saturday. But noon lacrosse, 2 o'clock Niners, and softball, I think, plays at 3 and 5:30 in the tournament they're hosting. So if you want something to do on Saturday and you want to come out to campus, come on out. There is a plethora of activities of which to engage.
Do they charge admission for lacrosse?
No.
So I've got a list of promotions here. This is our favorite part of the show.
Ooh, yeah. Before we wrap up, we cannot leave without Kevin's promotional schedule update.
I'll go with some season-long promotions first at the Hayes. You got $2 Tuesdays, which you can enjoy $2 tickets and $2 hot dogs for Tuesday games.
You know how I love me some $2 hot dogs.
I'll get you 2 when I get there.
I appreciate that.
Fridays, baseball bingo Fridays, and concession deal, Friday night flights. You get a hot dog, beer, and a large popcorn for $15. Can't beat that. Saturday dog days. You bring your furry friend to the Hayes every Saturday. You got to sign a waiver. So Bilo, you know how Bilo gets. He gets to bite Toby Bicknell.
My dog's not coming to the Hayes for a ball game. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that right now.
But you got to sign a waiver just because of that. So get online, sign a waiver, bring your dog out every Saturday at the Hayes. And then Sundays, you got Sunday Family Fun Days. You can get a bundle, 4 tickets for $10. There's an asterisk. Premium games, $20 for 4 tickets, but regular games, $10 for 4 tickets. Kids 14 and under run the bases after the game, weather permitting. That's always fun. Another concession deal on Sundays, 4 hot dogs, 4 drinks, bottomless popcorn bucket for $34. So there you go. Those are your promotions for all year at the Hayes. Some pretty good stuff. I mean, I might have.
Do they tell you what qualifies as the asterisk? What qualifies as a premium game?
They haven't listed. They didn't list that, but
I mean, is a conference game? Does that make it a premium game, or what? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, TBD on premium games.
I think any game that the Niners are playing in is a premium game.
I do too, but I would say that $10, 4 tickets for $10 is a good deal, though. Even 20 for 4.
Yeah. Okay. Well, folks, we're out of time. We made this happen. We had producer Brad for half the time. He kept us on the rails. We survived until producer Brad was able to arrive. He arrived with news of a Niner victory, so that's always welcome. Had Woody hanging out here with us talking about Old Dominion. Pretty cool stuff. We appreciate you guys joining us. Remember, we are on Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook. Those are the places you can find Diamond Niner Report. These podcasts are on YouTube and Spotify. Great way to make sure you get notified of new content is to subscribe and turn on notifications. That way you'll always know. I actually got some feedback, Kevin. Some folks are kind of going on a Twitter hiatus these days, and they were wanting to know, well, how do I know when the new podcast comes out? Subscribe on YouTube, subscribe on Spotify, turn on notifications. It'll get to you that way. So great way to do it. We appreciate you folks tuning in. We always enjoy hearing from you. If you see us at the ballpark, make sure you stop and say hello because we love talking to you. All right. I'm Nick. For Kevin, for producer Brad, for Coach Woody, this has been Diamond Niners Weekly. We will see you at the Hayes.